It looks like the PlayStation community is at it again. Do you guys have any self-control?
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad.
These guys have a lineage of hate. If you have been listening to any pro PlayStation YouTube channel or pro PlayStation Twitter, you would have seen they made the argument that PlayStation is selling 2-to-1 when it comes to the Xbox Series consoles. This was very clear that they have made that statement on numerous occasions. Now, I know 2-to-1 is, 2-to-1. So if Microsoft would have sold 5 million consoles, 2-to-1 would imply that PlayStation sold 10 million consoles. That's how maths work, that's how English work. 2-to-1. Yes, the PlayStation community has been saying this, has made this a talking point, that the PlayStation 5 is outselling the Xbox Series X 2-to-1. Well, let's look at the proof and see how the PlayStation community cannot count and they don't know what 2-to-1 means. According to VG Charts, a website that the PlayStation community love to use all of a sudden, they are saying that the PlayStation 5 in the US has sold over 19 million, while the Xbox Series X has sold over 14 million. Now, this is very clear that what the Xbox Series console sold is not 2-to-1. So, for failing maths, for failing how to understand what 2-to-1 mean, hold on to this. Another talking point that the PlayStation community love to use is that they buy games. Yes, the Xbox community don't buy games, they are poor and they are cheap. And guess what? The PlayStation community buy games. They even said that the reason why Phil Spencer and the team is bringing across these 4 games to PlayStation is because they need real gamers to buy these games, because Xbox gamers didn't buy it. That was the argument they were using. Well, that too, Your Honor, is a lie. Because there are new reports saying that both Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment is selling terrible on the PlayStation 5. Even their own exclusive, Rise of Ronin, is selling horrible, so much so that they had to drop it. But I thought the PlayStation community buy games. I thought they're the only ones that has the money to buy games. They are liars, and for lying, hold on to this. No, don't feel sorry for these ponies. These ponies deserve it. They deserve to be disciplined because they are unruly. But guess what? The best one I have heard last week was that, Hi-Fi Rush has the better version on the PlayStation 5. Yes, the PlayStation community was gloating that Hi-Fi Rush has better shadows than the Xbox Series console. Look at this.
Focusing on Hi-Fi Rush today, something unusual caught our eye then. For the most part, PS5 gets a carbon copy of the existing Series X game as it should be. They sport matching textures, anisotropic filtering, and world detail. Nothing to split them, except this shot raised an eyebrow. As you can see, the shadow quality on PS5 is improved compared to the original Xbox Series X version. It's not a one-off case either, in that it applies across all of the game's dynamic shadows for the environment and characters.
So yes, this is why the PlayStation community was rejoicing last week. It's because they get better shadow lines than the Xbox Series version. For the low price of $30, these ponies are getting better lines when it comes to shadows. Better shadows. Wow. So, but listen to what he's going to say here.
The higher resolution of shadows on PS5 allows for more precise shadow definition on fine details, like the mesh pattern on fences here. We have none of the breakup, the aliasing or the pixelation we see on the lower Series X setting, which in itself is at least a boost over the Series S in quality. To be clear, shadows are the only tangible difference between the two consoles. Otherwise, they both run Hi-Fi Rush at 60 frames per second. It's the same 60 FPS readout as Series X has always been. The fact that there is this advantage on the PS5 version is in principle very odd and most likely an oversight. Seeing the PC version in action, for instance, on its top shadow settings adds some context here. Simply put, the PC release runs at an equivalent shadow setting to Series X even when it's fully maxed out.
I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon?
So y'all heard it yourself. Even a fully maxed out PC has the same shadows as the Xbox Series X version, making it very clear that it does had an oversight here when it came to the shadows for those two versions. And I'm sure that could be fixed in any patch that they're willing to send. But you know what? They don't even have to do that. This game runs perfectly just the way that it is. And if the PlayStation fans want to boast that they have better shadows, their lines are more crispier, then let them have it. They are paying $38. At least let them get something. But today we're not going to talk about none of that. Today we are going to talk about how Xbox, yes, that platform is profitable. And let's hear what Phil Spencer has to say about the profitability of the Xbox platform and how the future is bright for Xbox. And we will also talk about how another dev who had dealings with Sony is telling some of their workers goodbye. It's sad, but this is what happens when you bring your game exclusive to PlayStation and not port over to Xbox or the PC or even Nintendo. So you know what? Let's get it!
This is a sickness!
Let's get it! So before we start the video, I have a little update concerning the podcast and the PC that I was supposed to procure. And yes, I did get a desktop. Now it's not the world's best desktop. It will be a desktop that is able to stream. I also got myself, everything that I need to, run the podcast. So I still have to, figure out the software and so forth. But we are looking good, guys. We are on track to have this podcast soon. I will be looking for moderators, persons that I know would keep the chat clean. I don't want any sort of deviancy in the chat. No, I have no problem with having the back and forth. I have no problem with smack talk, but once it is not going overboard into the dark pony areas. So we would have that coming on streams very soon. So I just wanted to give you guys a little update. Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get back to the video. So first up, we know that Microsoft critics for years have been saying that Microsoft, the Xbox division is not profitable. They have been saying that, and although Microsoft is the world's richest company, Xbox as a division need to be able to stand on its own, meaning bringing in its own profits to show that yes, the business is profitable. Well, Phil Spencer recently had an interview, and that is exactly what he says. He says that the Xbox brand is profitable. Listen up.
Xbox is a profitable and growing business, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer says. Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer reiterates that Xbox is not only profitable, but the business is growing as a whole, even if the industry isn't. Xbox may not have grown as fast as Microsoft hoped it would, but the business is indeed a profitable and evolving segment within the tech. Over the past few years, Xbox's profitability has come into question. Just how profitable is it to release first-party games onto Xbox Game Pass? How much does cannibalization eat into potential game sales? Xbox is the only member of the big three that does not publish profits, which is because gaming is not its own segment. Xbox is part of the Microsoft's more personal computing segment, which also includes Windows, so it's almost impossible to separate out Xbox profits. The FTC versus Microsoft federal trial also highlighted Xbox's shortcomings when it comes to growth. It's true that Xbox has missed Xbox Game Pass subscriber targets, missed by 44% in 2022, and overall gaming revenue targets, missed by $780 million in 2023, but the games division is still profitable. And, according to Phil Spencer, Xbox is also growing. We're a business. I've said over and over. I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable growing business inside of Microsoft. And we are that today, Xbox Gaming CEO Phil Spencer said in a recent interview with Polygon. Catalysts for this growth are a mix of Xbox's total business, but also some big changes like bringing select first-party games to PlayStation and Nintendo in a bid to sell more games. The Activision Blizzard King acquisition also helps, and ATVI has already contributed over $2 billion to Xbox's quarterly holiday revenue. This isn't the first time Phil Spencer has discussed Xbox profitability, which, to be fair, may not really need to be discussed by virtue of the fact that Xbox is still around. Microsoft probably wouldn't keep an unprofitable albatross on its books. The real question is how profitable Xbox is, especially with PlayStation currently reporting 6% operating profit margins. In 2022, during a Wall Street Journal live event, Phil Spencer said Game Pass was profitable. He also gave out specific figures that let us calculate Game Pass revenues. In 2021, Game Pass made between $1.258 billion, $1.887 billion, and in 2022, it could have made between $1.87 billion, $1.88 billion. In 2023, Spencer reiterated Xbox's profitability during a Giant Bomb at Night interview. Game Pass is profitable, Xbox is profitable. I've said it's sustainable, but people ask me what I mean by that, Spencer said in June 2023.
So contrary to what the so-called gaming analysts, those fake gaming analysts who are saying that Microsoft is not profitable, Microsoft is on its last legs, it is totally not true. After this interview here, we would have learned that Microsoft is profitable. They are making moves just like the moves that they would have made with Mojang by putting Minecraft everywhere. They are putting some selected games everywhere. Nintendo and PlayStation and PC. And because of that, together with Game Pass, together with what they have been doing, we are seeing that Microsoft is profitable as a company. Now, what that can mean for you? Why are we talking financials and profits? You see, when Microsoft see that their strategy is working, it would mean more great content for you, more great value for you as a gamer. We will be getting innovative things like Game Pass. We will be getting, good consoles like the Xbox Series X at a reasonable price, $500, the Xbox Series S, $300. So you will be seen as a gamer that you will be benefiting from Microsoft being profitable, so that they can keep the competition going when it comes to Nintendo and Sony. So this is some interesting news here. Let me hear what you think about Microsoft being profitable. Did you believe in what those guys said, that Microsoft would keep a company or a department open if they weren't profitable? It's very clear that the Xbox team, they know what they are doing. And of course, like anything else, they could make improvement. But let me hear what you think they could improve on. Before I go on to the last story, let me just say that some ponies are really the underbelly of society because of what they say and what they do. Look at this. Japan Hate Xbox says, remember my bio, every single point hits. Game Pass is for casual gamers and poor people. I truly mean that, and I stand by it. The begging for GTA 6 on Welfare Pass is proof. Xbox gamers are broke, uneducated, and live in soup kitchens. Xbox gamers are hillbilly trash. And then after, Pony Elite said, the only time an Xbox fan gets laid is when they grape their sisters. This is the type of people that is in the PlayStation community. This is the reason why I make these videos, because of sick ponies like this. Look at what this guy is saying. I don't even want to repeat it, but I don't know. This is why I cannot stop what I'm doing, because of these ponies. They are sick in the head. What does the devs of Fire Sprite, the devs of Forspoken, and recently Squared Enix with Foam Stars have in common? They all saw a detrimental end to their game because they decided to have a deal, an exclusive deal with Sony. And it's looking like this is the same thing that is going to happen with another dev that Sony had dealings with in the past. And that is the devs who made the game Godfall. Yes? Do you remember that game? This was a game that really basically released with the PlayStation 5. And now we are seeing layoffs at that studio. Listen up.
Godfall developer has been hit with layoffs. Counterplay, the developer behind Gearbox Publishing's action role-playing game Godfall, has been hit with layoffs, based on the latest information. According to the LinkedIn profiles of Matt Cherami, former senior writer at Counterplay Games, Spencer Roberts, former lead narrative animator at Counterplay Games, and Craig Johnson, former senior gameplay animator at Counterplay Games, the studio has been hit with layoffs. In his LinkedIn post, Cherami mentions that his time at Counterplay Games recently came to an end, and that him and many other talented people who have been let go from the studio are now looking for new opportunities. He was working as a senior writer at Counterplay Games. Johnson also mentioned in his post that him along with several other game developers who were previously employed by Counterplay Games are on the lookout for new roles. As such, it's quite apparent that the studio has laid off several of its staff members. It's unclear how many have lost their jobs, but we hope all of them land on their feet and are able to find work soon. Counterplay Games' most recent effort, Godfall, was released for PlayStation 5 and Windows on November 12, 2020, followed by a PlayStation 4 release on August 10, 2021. On April 7, 2022, an enhanced version titled Godfall Ultimate Edition, containing all downloadable content up to that point, was released for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. The game had a lukewarm reception from both critics and the gaming community. The game supports both single-player and cooperative modes for up to 3 players. Described as a looter-slasher, Godfall's gameplay involves completing missions to acquire better loot for further quests, with a focus on melee combat over ranged attacks. The game is set in a high fantasy world divided into the realms of earth, water, and air. Players assume the role of one of the last Exalted Knights Order tasked with preventing a major apocalyptic event.
So it's looking like whatever deal Sony has with certain devs, it's either hit or miss. It's either you could either score like Helldivers 2, or it's the curtains going to call for you and your company if it is, your game does not resonate with the Sony fans. Now, this is very sad for the game developers. I really hope that they get, another job, but it really goes to show that game developers need to be diverse. Yes, you could chance having a game exclusive with Sony, but that does not mean that it will automatically sell. There is a possibility that you might be on the breadline, on the streets, in the cold, under a tent, begging for something to eat. So let me hear what you think about all of this here, about whether it be about Godfall, whether it be about the Sony fans that can't stop being sick. Let me know what you think about this in the comment sections below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, for more videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.